One environmental issue that most people don't even consider as an issue is lawns. Many people do not consider lawns as issues because they have been a part of our society for decades, even centuries, and they are still viewed as natural. But this suburban necessity is harming our environment, wasting water and land. Today, U.S. homeowners spend more than $17 billion on landscape improvements, with 26 million households hiring professionals to maintain their lawns. Why are lawns so important to us? Where did lawns even come from? Who thought it was a brilliant idea to replace natural landscaping with imported grasses? The earliest form of lawns began in ancient Africa. Low grasses of the savanna would allow people to spot danger or prey. This same concept made its way to Europe and provided castle watchmen with clear views of the horizons. As Europe evolved, these low grass areas were used for hosting parties, bowling greens, croquet, cricket, and tennis courts. By the 16th century, perfectly manicured lawns were symbols of the elite. These lawns were typically low-growing, perennial grasses that would be maintained by groundskeepers that could only be afforded by the wealthy. When Europeans traveled to America, lawns were replaced with gardens of flowers and vegetables. Centuries later, wealthy Americans would travel to Europe and see elaborate lawns representing status. They wanted to then transform their own gardens into lawns to prove their wealth. This proved difficult since European grasses could not handle America's climate. In 1915, the USDA sought out to find grasses that would tolerate our climates. After 15 years of testing grasses from Europe and Africa, they found many grass combinations that would do. This, along with the invention of the mechanical lawnmower in 1890, made maintaining perfectly manicured lawns in the U.S. more accessible and affordable. By the 1950s, the suburban home with a lawn became the American dream, especially for soldiers returning home from war. Since then, green and weed-free lawns have been a vital part of our society. Just as they did in the 16th century, lawns act as a statement of status. If our lawns are clean, green, and weed-free, we are seen as clean and moral people. Unkept lawns imply the intrusion of dirt and uncivility in an area that is meant to be clean and civilized. There are many issues with our modern lawns, the main issue being water usage. Many lawns today are created using grasses that are not native to our areas and require more water than nature provides, resulting in us having to run sprinkler systems during the non-freezing months to keep our thirsty lawns green. About 1/3 of U.S. residential water use is used for landscape irrigation. Many grass types require 1 to 2 inches of water each week. It takes about 0.623 gallons of water to get 1 inch of water on 1 square foot of lawn. That means a 10-foot by 10-foot area of lawn will require about 62 gallons of water. Half of this landscape water is wasted from evaporation or running off into the street and storm drains. The second most important issue is that these imported flowerless lawns are taking away pollen from bees and other pollinators. Bee populations are already in trouble, and we are making it worse when we take away their food. One study in Germany has even shown that increased mowing causes significant decline in species diversity of bees, beetles, grasshoppers, and even butterflies. Another study done here in the United States says that the need for a shift from highly manicured landscapes dominated by turf grass to more natural landscape is a crucial factor in improving bee numbers and bee health. They conclude that grasses that are treated with fertilizers and are utterly devoid of weeds are not conducive to a thriving bee population. Many weeds, such as dandelions, are in fact important to our environment and are not terrorists that need to be taken out. Fertilizers are ultimately harmful to our residential ecosystems. Fertilizer can lead to nitrous oxides, ammonia, and other harsh chemicals being released into our soils and air. Fertilizer runoff can also be a detriment to our natural water systems and wildlife that depends on those water systems. One last issue with lawns is that we are removing native plants. We must remove these plants anyway to make room for houses and buildings. However, we are removing more than we need to when we replace them with non-native lawns. Many native plants have seen significant population loss due to lawns, many of which are crucial to pollinators' survival. The first possible solution is to replace our lawns with native plants. Native plants require less water than imported grasses and will not require fertilizers or mowing. This will turn lawns into natural, sustainable gardens. It will also provide native flowering plants that can better sustain bee populations. Another lawn alternative is clover lawns. Clover lawns require less water and only grow to be a couple of inches tall, so there is little to no need for mowing. Clover lawns also absorb nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert it into their own fertilizer. Clover lawns flower, providing pollinators with food and giving color to your yard. Personally, this is my favorite solution. I feel clover is very beautiful and can mirror the kept lawns that people so desperately desire. Many people still strongly believe that lawns should be a part of our society. If people wish to not convert their lawns into complete alternatives, then they can practice conservative actions to reduce the environmental impact their lawn has. Denver water requires that people only water during the coolest times of the day and no more than 3 times a week. Other practices include using organic fertilizers if necessary, mowing less, or planting flowers. The ultimate solution is to change our ideals. Most of our suburban behaviors involve watering, mowing, and caring for our lawns to avoid judgment from our neighbors. People believe that their status is attached to their lawns. We need to change that image. People need to realize that every inch of our lawns do not have to be green. Not all weeds are terrorists to our lawns, and that you do not have to conform to this unrealistic ideal of having a lawn. Lawn alternatives can hold just as much status as regular lawns. We are following a tradition that was created centuries ago. It is time to change our traditions to fit our changing lives and our changing planet.